So thanks everybody for making it this far into the video, and I just wanted to give you a little disclaimer. In most of the cases, you're going to be able to utilize this e5 break unless they go for bishop g5, creating this pretty nasty pin. So instead of e5, we have to change our strategy and play with c5. To give you a quick overview of the main themes we'll be going over. Why its main response is to the e5 push, plus in the last game. I'm going to teach you how to deal with those spoiled brats who refuse to eat their broccoli as a child, because that would allow us opportunity to trade and infiltrate, and we'll have a monster knight against a bad bishop. So remember, bishop is bad because it's of the same color of its own pawns. If this was like a dark square bishop on e3, white would very much be okay. But with light square bishop, he is not. Okay, so d4 square is amazing, but I don't see how to make progress, so I'm gonna move the knight so we can infiltrate, planning to rook d3, because I want to double up the rooks, and I also want to gain tempo simultaneously, so this rook d8 coming next. We'll have to speed up a little bit, because we only have 30 seconds left. Forgot this was a blitz game. I got a little bit too caught in the strategical aspects of these, but yeah, position is very good. Rook c3 is a massive threat because the rook is overloaded. And then follow our typical stuff. And okay, so he does a 3 now. Normally there is knight d7 idea, but he can play b4, so we need to be aware of that. Because after a BAB, there is no knight takes on b4 because our rook would be hanging, so in order to stop his b4 idea, we can go knight c5 attacking e4, probably only move queen c2, and then we can try to slow him down on the queen side with this a4 move, which is honestly pretty strong, so this is a very interesting and typical middle game position where we could just go ignore. But I feel like you need to get into this habit of first stopping white's counterplay if you can. So imagine he gets to play queen c2. We play a 4. His queen side is completely frozen after this key move, so he can never play b4 due to the en passant, and I can easily support that pawn. And once we have frozen the queen side, then we just have a free hand on the other side of the board, so he's not going to really have much counterplay. He can just play a waiting game. Okay, so he plays knight b5, threatening this, but he's pretty much weakening e4 now. My queen initially was developed on e8. I can go back to d8 or to e7. The question is, will I want to play bishop d7 and allow this in the future, or do I go queen d8 so that I give myself opportunity to play bishop d7? Okay, pretty tricky to say. I'm just going to go queen e7 because normally it feels like the more natural move having rooks connected. Okay, he just went back, so he's just not doing much. I can finish development with bishop to d7, reinforcing the pawn on a move like bishop e3, which I guess will happen soon. We can reinforce the knight with b6 to take that way. And okay, rook e1. I would like to just focus on the typical kingside play. But also, I wanted to let you know that you can watch out for knight b3 ideas as well, like knight b3, rook d1, and then knight d4. Because as Bobby Fischer said, whenever he was getting knight on d4 in the King's Indian, he would make at least a draw. So that's a pretty good thing to go for, I guess. And this is really one of the most instructive King's Indian themes that I really remember when I first learned it. It was completely eye-opening. There's a big difference between d4 and d5 square.